no bounty hunters, no droids, no Raylos, no sequel trilogy fans at all, and no black pills. I need to make sure that this gets out to people, so I'm going to be back in a sec. X. Okay, one more. Facebook. Okay, I'm back. So here we go. Okay, I'm back. So here we go. This morning they dropped the Mando and Grogu trailer, and it looks awesome. Okay, first off though, when you come in, please hit the likes and jump in the chat, leave comments, because it helps the algorithm, and I like knowing what people have to say. Anyway, so they dropped the teaser trailer, and it looks awesome. No, it's stuff that we've kind of seen before. We got a better look at Jabba the Hutt's son, Rhoda. He's like this, and he's got arms like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, he's huge. I'm like, okay. So obviously, the kid didn't want to go into Jabba's business. Interesting that he's so big already. Because Jabba was what, like 500 years old? I mean, they must really have a fast growth period, and then they kind of slow down. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I know about Hutts is from the Han Solo books by A.C. Crispin, where she basically says they're hermaphrodites and they can switch sexes, which is really kind of gross. I'm on a need to know basis, and I really don't need to know. Anyway, but it looks really great. And we see an Imperial Walker get blown up by Mando, and it comes crashing down. It could be Hoth. We could be going to Hoth. That would be cool. Site of many a thing. Okay. And the poster, they decided to go with the 1950s poster, which, you know, isn't staying with tradition. But as far as like the feel of it, I love it. I mean, I love it. Now, people were complaining that we're not really getting an idea what the story's going to be. All right, no, you're not. Let me caution you. A very wise person named Michael, aka Corian, said that you're not going to get leaks of people that are working on the project are happy. And it looks to me like the people working on Mando and Grogu are happy. So there you go. Okay. I'm like, this is, I mean, moment tickets are ready to go. I'm buying. I know exactly what theater I want to watch it in. I'm gonna sit in there, popcorn, soda, and I'll probably see it 4 or 5 times if it's good enough for that. I'm more excited for this than I would say anything. And the reason why is because I love Mando and Grogu. Great characters, and it looks to me like we're going to get, I have heard that Cara Dune may show up, which, you know, they made a deal with her, with Gina, you know, and we may actually get to see OG legacy characters like, obviously, Luke Skywalker, and I had heard some things about Leia showing up, and even some things about Han. Okay, so if we get that, it'll be great. Now, you gotta remember that Disney told John he was spending way too much money on the deepfakes for the legacy characters. I think, and if that's the case, I think they really are kind of worried about casting the wrong people as the legacy characters, because we all know what happened with awful Ehrenreich, right? All right, I don't have to, you know, go see. on this, right? So, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to this. Now, I have a message to people who've been leaving shitty comments on the Star Wars channel. Dumb fucks. This is a teaser. A, you're not going to get to see what the story's about. B, your narrative from Gary Beekler, aka Nerdrotic, Ryan Cannell, the self-described greatest Star Wars fan of all time, etc. You're not even trying to be original. You're just being assholes, trolls, and you can't call yourself a Star Wars fan if you go on a brand new teaser trailer and proceed to trash it, okay? So why don't you, if you can't put something positive on, go outside and touch grass. It's a beautiful first day of fall, okay? Go do that, but leave it alone. And let those of us who are going to enjoy it, enjoy it. Part of the problem we have in this world is that all the miserable people are online and they feel the need to say whatever they want as long as it's as shitty as possible about something good. Just because their lives are shitty, so they have to make sure everybody else's life is shitty. I'm sorry, but I'm not taking the opinion of a drug dealing convicted felon as sacrosanct about Star Wars, right? Why should we? Okay, I'm not taking the opinions of a yoga instructor or anybody else. You have to judge it for yourself, so you have to go out and see it, okay? You have to go see it. And I think the thing that pisses me off the most is that these people are hell-bent on destroying any kind of revival because A, it costs them money. It's money out of their pockets. The only way the black pills like Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, etc., only way they make any headway is if they trash everything. I personally, I can't wait to hear what Tom Connors bloviates out there. Because it's going to be like, shut the fuck up. It's a teaser, okay? Let us watch it and form our own opinion without you getting pissed off if we say we like what we saw. Okay? Look, the only people I know that are more acidic than black pill Star Wars fans and by and large blue pill Star Wars fans are heavy metal fans who gang up on a band for, basically going in a different direction and not having a band member come back because he's too sick to perform, right? Motley Crue, case in point. Go on to their things they're doing or they're almost done with the 10-show residency in Las Vegas. And a good friend of mine who does a lot of stuff in the music business, he's an engineer and all the rest of the stuff, was there and he saw them 3 nights in a row and said they were fabulous. Vince Neil was kicking ass. The crap being aimed at Nikki Sixx over, hi Tim, over Mick Mars not being the lead guitar because Mick decided to sue everybody because Motley went ahead and hired John Five, and he's a really good guitarist. He's very good. Is absolutely deranged. First off, Mick Mars has a disease where he can't move anymore. His back is fused, right? And the only thing I can say is Nikki and the gang did not handle removing Mick in the right way because what they did was they didn't tell him. If they had told him and said, we will, make sure you get paid, blah, 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 we'll do right by you, that'd have been great. Mick can't do it anymore. He can't even do a residency anymore. Yet here we are. Okay, And this is the only time I've seen fans behave worse than you black pills out there. All right? I don't know what you want. I don't even know what you want. I don't even think you people know what you want. All you know is you see Mandalorian and Grogu and you have start to shit yourselves because Gary Beekler commanded from his fiery throne presiding over the damned, telling you what you should think and what you should say. Done. Done. Okay? My advice is let more trailers drop. We have, what, 10 months? No, like, all right, all right, we have like 10, like 9 months till, oh yeah, damn right, Cross. It's gonna open on May 22nd. All right, let us decide if it's good or not. All right, it's not, your, I think, right, even with a big platform, to tell people what to think. This is how you should say it. This is how you should say it. The teaser looks interesting. I don't know what to think. We don't have anything about a story. Let's see what happens. That's all I gotta say. You don't have to say, oh, it's gonna suck, man. How old are you? 5? I'm looking forward to it because we haven't had a good movie since 2019. No. We really haven't had a good Star Wars movie since 2016. And that was Rogue One. A long freaking time ago. It was almost 10 years ago. All right, so X-nay on the ignorant A, okay? Knock it off. All right? Let people watch it and decide for themselves without the negative input. Meanwhile, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching through super chats and AdSense money. Don't give a shit. Get a real job. Get a real job, Gary, Ryan. Amazon is hiring. They're always hiring. All right? Go there to work. Same thing with everybody at Geeks and Gamers. Go get a real fucking job. All right? The reason why I say, and same thing Star Wars explained. The reason why I say that is you can't turn fandom into a career, which is what they've done. It is now an industry. Like the film industry, right? Don't even want to get into the Jimmy Kimmel bullshit, okay? True, Cross, very true. I just go, something has to break the narrative, right? Now, I am going to say this. From my spies on Blue Sky, I saw some stuff about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and as Cross saw, because I posted it, Pablo Hidalgo couldn't help himself. He had to say something. And I came back to me that he deleted the post. I wonder why. Couldn't have been because I made sure Bob Iger and Jon Favreau saw it, and Disney and Lucasfilm saw it. It's really time for all the really shitty people in the world to just go get lives. I mean, it really, really is. First off, he's up in Winnipeg for, quote, work. Look, I know for a fact that the visa that people have now, he is not, Pablo Hidalgo is not a citizen of the United States. Me looking at Donald Trump, me looking at Kristi Noem and Homan. The rule is, I think they have to go back at once a year and to their home of origin. And, you know, from Chile to Canada to not really immigrating, just working in the United States on a work visa or whatever. It would really be too bad if that got investigated by ICE and the immigration officials. You know, he was posting a lot of shit about Tom Homan supposedly taking bribes, which he didn't. They were not bribes. But of course, if you're a left-wing communist, you know, the truth and your fifis, you know, are like, you know, whatever. Doomcock is a Star Wars fan. Jeremy is just a dickhead. Nerdrotic, you know, if he's not, then he needs to shut the fuck up and stop talking about it. You know, Ethan Van Sciver, and one of the guys that kind of is one of his people, really went after him, Gary, because he just repeats shit over and over again, and the little black pills just follow him around. You know, it's almost like being brainwashed. If you hear something enough, you think it's the truth. Joseph Goebbels said that, all right? And this is the guy that was telling the German people, you know, that the Soviet army is being pushed back. Meanwhile, as he's talking, you can hear Soviet artillery and AK-47s over the microphone outside Hitler's bunker. Oh, what, daughter issues? Okay, I want to hear this. I don't talk to these people anymore. I don't have anything to do with them. You know, it's arguing with idiots, and there's enough of that online. All right, and you know, they don't like being called out. They don't like being told that they're wrong, and they don't like hearing an alternative opinion. Okay. All right, they don't. And that's the problem. That's why that's why Tom Connors chased Cameron off of Midnight's Edge. Cameron called him out and said, "You're wrong." Yeah, they are troglodytes. I mean, I just, you know, when you have someone that you really admire on the down lows say they're a bunch of crybabies, they are a bunch of crybabies. They haven't grown up. But look at the blue pills. Look at Molly Damon and her servant Alex. Look at, you know, Jason Ward. I don't even know if he's around anymore. You know, they're all a bunch of, you know, those guys are Kennedy humping starfuckers. And what are they doing now? I mean, look, when you've got Shadows of Legacy, I think that's what the Skywalker Saga film was, at Galaxy's Edge playing, and there's no mention of the sequel trilogy, that might actually tell you that it's time to start thinking there's something going on here, when Kathleen Kennedy literally has the most incoherent, I think she was stoned when she was being interviewed. I think she ate a gummy or maybe ate a brownie, or had way too much boxed Chardonnay. That interview with Deadline and Mike Fleming trying to insinuate that Matt Bellany, whom I have a lot of respect for, was lying about what he heard about her leaving, and it's like, and Matt bites back, and it was over. I mean, it was, she hasn't said a word since. She showed up to Star Wars Celebration to be part of the Starfighter thing, and I think she only stayed in Japan for maybe an hour. Afterwards, she was gone. She never showed up again. It was all John and Dave. And she basically is going, I'm not going anywhere. And then John's like, I'm here to stay. If you remember, that's what he said. Put it all together, what's going on? In my opinion, she was desperate to look for any sort of validation that she could get. And the last time anybody with who could speak to power in Hollywood mentioned her, it was the lack of mentioning her that everybody noticed. And I'm talking about Steven Spielberg, her quote unquote partner and friend. Okay, so for both sides, the black pills, Star Wars isn't dead. Kennedy is on her way out. If you don't believe Matt Bellany, and if you want to believe, Gary Beekler, who no one talks to, or, any of those guys, they're not going to tell you what's really going on because they don't know. All right. Matt Bellany is literally one of the most connected people in Hollywood. Like, he can call Bob Iger and set up a lunch date. Can Doomcock? No. Can, Jeremy Griggs? No. None of them can. Right? And the idea that they attacked Cameron, and I think it was partially due to racism. I really, really do. I think calling those guys racists is not that far off. And if people get upset, who cares? But we still have a problem with Lucasfilm, and they're going to have to start cleaning up the mess that's there, right? You can't, I don't see the company going anywhere even after Kennedy leaves if Pablo Hidalgo is still employed, if his wife is still employed. They know that. Hidalgo was already forced by Disney to apologize to the fans, not just Star Wars Theory. And now he's back on Blue Skies doing the same shit without any idea what's going on here. Here's the deal. They only believe what they want to believe. They don't actually look at the facts and with an objective view. The same thing with the Gary Beeklers and the Black Pills, because they have a worldview, and it's almost a religion that cannot be countered with another opinion. Hence, again, why Cameron quit going on Midnight's Edge. You're not allowed to argue with Tom. Bullshit. They don't have people, disagree with them. I mean, I think the only time anybody did was Chris Gore and then a day later he had a stroke. Okay, um, it's gotten out of hand. It really has. But you know, you know, what are you gonna do? First off, the teaser looked good. We've seen some of it before. I don't remember seeing the Walker go flipping down into the canyon, but okay. We also didn't get to hear Grogu's voice, and now we do, right? And I think one of the most positive things, if you want to call it positive, is that Pedro Pascal, this is the last time he's playing Din Djarin. Now, they could just end the character. He could die at the end, and Grogu goes on to work with Luke. Or they could just have, you know, Brendan Wayne take over, which I don't think anybody would have a problem with, right? I don't know anybody who would have a problem with that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this. I think the poster's epic. I love the 1950s serial feel. That feels like George kind of had a hand in that design, because that's where Star Wars, this is a hankering back to what made Star Wars great. Okay, this is a hankering back to what made Star Wars great. And, you know, it's where George got his ideas. Hi, Kojak. Hi, Kojak. We got people coming on Friday, so I got to get him all brushed up. He's a very good boy, though. You know, so, you know, I'm, you know, very excited for this. And I will tell you, if you feel excited and you go to, I don't know, anybody, it doesn't matter who, and they have a big platform, and they're saying the opposite, remember, they have a narrative to keep up. And they will do anything they can to do it. Anyway, I gotta rock, I gotta eat some lunch, and then go see the horse. And I will see you guys around the galaxy. And y'all have a great day. If something else happens, I'll be back. See you later.